Voting is a fundamental right and civic duty for every American, and that responsibility doesn't disappear, even when you're orbiting Earth. NASA astronauts living aboard the International Space Station, ISS, are proof of that. They may be hundreds of miles above our planet, but they're still fully engaged with life back on Earth, including participating in the democratic process. The 2024 election is no exception. For American astronauts, Don Pettit, Nick Hague, Butch Wilmore, and Suni Williams are currently aboard the ISS, and despite the challenges of spaceflight, they are casting their votes like millions of other Americans. The opportunity to vote from space is a unique and fascinating aspect of modern technology, but it's also a testament to the determination of these astronauts to remain connected to their country. It's not just about being a space explorer, it's about being a citizen. Suni Williams emphasized this when she said, "It's a very important duty that we have as citizens," noting that voting from space is a pretty cool experience. But it's more than just cool, it's a reminder that, no matter where you are, your voice matters. Think about it, if astronauts can figure out how to vote while floating in zero gravity, traveling at 17,500 miles per hour around Earth, what's stopping the rest of us? It's easy to put off voting or think it doesn't make a difference, but seeing these astronauts take the time to vote from space should inspire all of us to do our part. As we dive deeper into how voting from space works, let this serve as a reminder: participating in democracy is not just a right, it's a responsibility. And if our astronauts can make it happen from orbit, surely you can make it to the polls. So, don't wait, get informed, get involved, and cast your vote. Your voice matters, whether you're on Earth or beyond. The process of voting from space is as extraordinary as it sounds, and it showcases the impressive blend of technology and civic duty. For astronauts, voting starts well before they leave the ground. Just like any other American citizen living overseas, they need to plan ahead. Typically, they fill out a federal postcard application, FPCA, a form that allows U.S. citizens and military personnel abroad to request absentee ballots. In the case of astronauts, this process is even more critical, as their abroad happens to be several hundred miles above the Earth, in low Earth orbit aboard the International Space Station, ISS. Once the FPCA is completed, the astronauts' ballots are prepared by their local election officials, in this case, often in Texas, where most NASA astronauts are registered to vote due to their residency near the Johnson Space Center in Houston. When election time arrives, the astronauts don't just get a regular paper ballot. Instead, they receive an encrypted electronic ballot via a secure email. This electronic ballot is then transmitted back to Earth using NASA's advanced communication systems. This is where NASA's space technology plays a critical role. The encrypted ballot is sent from the ISS through NASA's tracking and data relay satellites, which are essential for maintaining communication with the space station. From there, it's relayed to a ground station at the White Sands Test Facility in New Mexico. This secure relay ensures that the ballot reaches the Mission Control Center at Johnson Space Center, where it is forwarded to the county clerk's office, responsible for counting the vote. The process might sound complex, but NASA has streamlined it to ensure that astronauts can participate in elections with the same ease and security as any citizen on Earth. This system guarantees the integrity of the vote, with layers of encryption and security to ensure that only the astronaut and the election officials have access to the ballot. What's truly remarkable is the commitment of NASA and the astronauts to making sure their votes are counted. Even with their demanding schedules aboard the ISS, which include conducting scientific research, maintaining the station, and staying physically fit, they prioritize casting their vote. Voting from space is more than just a technical achievement, it's a statement of how deeply these astronauts value their role as citizens. It's a reminder that no matter where you are, being part of the democratic process is not only possible but essential. As we continue exploring the intricacies of voting from space, it's clear that the system in place is a testament to the ingenuity of modern technology and the commitment to ensuring that every vote counts, whether cast from a city on Earth or from the orbiting laboratory in space. For astronauts like Suni Williams and Butch Wilmore, the 2024 election brought unexpected challenges. When they first arrived at the ISS aboard Boeing's Starliner in June, they didn't expect to still be in space by Election Day. Their mission was originally planned to last only a week, but technical issues with the Starliner's thrusters extended their stay for months. By the time NASA decided to return the Starliner to Earth without a crew, Williams and Wilmore had fully integrated into the ISS's schedule and had become part of SpaceX's Crew 9. Despite the extended mission and their demanding roles aboard the space station, Williams and Wilmore didn't miss the chance to vote. NASA's system for voting from space ensures that even under unexpected circumstances, astronauts can still participate in elections. While their original return was delayed, their civic duty was not. Voting from orbit became a part of their routine, fitting into their work of conducting experiments, maintaining the station, and preparing for future missions. Their dedication to voting under such unpredictable conditions highlights the resilience and adaptability of both astronauts and the systems in place to support them. It also serves as a powerful example of how, no matter the obstacles, staying connected to Earth's democratic process is a priority, even when you're floating hundreds of miles above it. The ability for astronauts to vote from space isn't just a modern technological marvel, it's the result of thoughtful legislation and years of innovation. It all began in 1997, when the Texas legislature passed a law allowing astronauts to cast their ballots from orbit. At the time, the law was groundbreaking and necessary. Most American astronauts are based in Houston, Texas, due to their training at NASA's Johnson Space Center, making them Texas residents for voting purposes. But as space missions became longer and more frequent, NASA recognized that astronauts would miss out on major elections if they were in space. This legislative change paved the way for astronauts to remain engaged in the democratic process, no matter how far from Earth they might be. David Wolf was the first American astronaut to vote from space, casting his ballot in 1997 while aboard Russia's Mir space station. This historic vote set a precedent for all future astronauts. Since then, every NASA astronaut who has been in space during an election has had the opportunity to vote. The Texas law ensured that spacefarers wouldn't have to choose between their mission and their right to participate in democracy. This law has continued to evolve as NASA missions grow more complex and astronauts spend increasingly longer periods aboard the International Space Station, ISS. The process itself has been refined over the years to ensure security, efficiency, and ease for the astronauts. Before heading into space, astronauts fill out the Federal Postcard Application, FPCA, just like U.S. military personnel stationed abroad. This form is essential, as it signals their intent to vote from space and sets up the process for sending and receiving ballots electronically. Once the FPCA is approved, the astronauts' local election officials prepare an encrypted electronic ballot. This ballot is sent to the astronaut on the ISS via a secure email, and the astronaut can fill it out at their convenience, often in between conducting experiments or performing maintenance tasks aboard the station. But how exactly does the ballot make its journey from space back to Earth? This is where NASA's Space Communication and Navigation, SCAN, program plays a critical role. SCAN is responsible for all of NASA's communication systems, which are used to relay data, messages, and in this case, votes, between space and Earth. Once an astronaut fills out their electronic ballot, it is transmitted through NASA's Tracking and Data Relay Satellite System, TDRS. This satellite network is crucial for maintaining constant communication with the ISS as it orbits Earth. From the ISS, the encrypted ballot is sent to a ground station at NASA's White Sands Test Facility in New Mexico. This facility serves as the first point of contact for all communications coming from space. The vote is then forwarded securely to NASA's Mission Control Center at Johnson Space Center in Houston, where it is relayed to the county clerk's office responsible for counting the astronauts' vote. Throughout the entire process, encryption and other security measures ensure that only the astronaut and the designated election officials have access to the ballot. This maintains the integrity and confidentiality of the vote. Over the years, the voting from space process has proven itself to be efficient and reliable. It's a system that allows astronauts to stay connected to their duties as American citizens while fulfilling their missions in space. NASA has made it as seamless as possible, ensuring that the astronauts have the support they need to participate in elections, no matter the distance. The success of this process highlights NASA's commitment to its astronauts, not just in terms of their safety and mission success, but also in preserving their rights and responsibilities as U.S. citizens. The SCAN program, which supports this process, is a cornerstone of NASA's broader mission. SCAN is responsible for managing all of NASA's space communications, ensuring that astronauts, spacecraft, and ground-based teams stay in constant contact. Without SCAN, critical data from space missions would be lost, and operations aboard the ISS would be far more challenging. In the context of voting, SCAN's role is just one of many examples of how NASA's technological capabilities reach into every corner of an astronaut's experience, even in tasks as seemingly routine as casting a ballot. What's particularly fascinating about the ability to vote from space is how it reflects the broader evolution of space exploration. As missions extend further from Earth and last longer, astronauts will continue to rely on these kinds of innovations to stay connected with life back home. The development of space voting laws and technologies shows that space exploration isn't just about science and technology, it's also about preserving human rights and responsibilities, even when those humans are hundreds of miles above the planet. Looking ahead, it's exciting to imagine how these systems might evolve as humanity moves beyond the ISS and looks toward deep space missions, like those to Mars. Voting from the surface of Mars might seem far off now, but if the last few decades have shown us anything, it's that NASA is capable of developing the systems necessary to make even the most challenging aspects of space life manageable. In a way, the ability for astronauts to vote from space is a symbol of the enduring connection between Earth and those who explore beyond it. No matter how far we go, certain aspects of life, like the right to vote, remain fundamental. As space exploration continues to push boundaries, NASA's commitment to ensuring that astronauts can exercise their civic duties is a testament to the importance of democracy and participation, even at the edges of human experience. Voting from space is more than just a technical achievement, it's a powerful reminder that, no matter how far we travel, our connection to Earth and our responsibilities as citizens remain. For astronauts, casting a ballot while orbiting 250 miles above the planet is a symbol of commitment, not just to science and exploration, but to democracy itself. It shows that participation in the democratic process transcends borders, even when those borders extend beyond the atmosphere. As we look toward future space missions and the expansion of humanity's presence beyond Earth, one thing is clear: our right to vote will continue to follow us wherever we go. If astronauts can manage to fulfill their civic duty from space, the least we can do is make sure we're exercising our right to vote here on Earth. Your voice matters, don't miss your chance to be heard. Make sure you're registered, informed, and ready to vote in the next election.